And maybe if I could pull this off, dude, if I could get 10 million people to invest average of $25,000 with me, I could buy $1 trillion worth of real estate. And then I'm going to run for president of the United States.
What year is that going to be?
2032.
So when I look at your businesses and your career, you know, I see obviously a lot of different businesses, but the core ones being, you know, everything associated with 10X, whether it's the events, the courses, the, you know, everything with 10X. I see Cardone Capital, you know, accumulating $4 billion in real estate. And then I see Grant Cardone, the personal brand. So tell me, like, what do you think out of those was the most important for getting you to $1 billion?
Golly, man, let me see. What's the most, I mean, the real estate, you know, the real estate, you can't fake the real estate. It's got addresses. Look at the deal I'm doing right now. It's on Los Olas Walk in Fort Lauderdale. All I have to do is say Los Olas Walk, Fort Lauderdale. If you've ever been there, you're like, oh, I know that. The location's sick. You know, we own 12,000 units, bro. My name's on all of them. 10X Living, 10X Los Olas Walk, 10X Boca, 10X Austin, 10X Houston, Texas. So when we start branding stuff, if people didn't know who I was or didn't know 10X, it wouldn't matter. It'd just be another name on a building, right? But the buildings, I think the real estate has been the most substantial, significant thing I've done to separate myself on the internet from being a personality to a real business. And the problem with the internet is all the fraud that goes on. And, you know, I mean, anybody can say anything, like everybody photoshops everything, filters are everywhere. You know, the 7-figure claims and the 9-figure claims, they're everywhere. So, you know, your business, you got True Books, right? You help. That business is real. Like, it's real. You're helping people do their taxes. You're not just doing some claim about a diet on Instagram. Your physical body, like the fact that you take care of yourself, it's real. People are going to watch this interview and be like, that dude put that, how old is that guy? People ask this question all the time. How old are you, bro? Like, when you take care of your body, you can't inject something that does the work for you. But you can inject stuff on the internet that creates a persona that's not true. We've all seen that happen.
Right.
So when you put together, I think it's a combination. I'm healthy. I'm having fun. I'm buying real assets. I'm letting real people, everyday people, invest with me as a partner. It's not just me getting rich here like Blackstone, Goldman. I'm giving back on the internet every day. I got beautiful kids, beautiful wife and marriage. I'm taking time with you today. All that becomes a combination. That makes the meal that you can serve to the public that hopefully they find value in and pay for.
Right. So you're building real things, not just, you know, the internet, Instagram guru guy. And, you know, that's what separated you from everyone else.
And we sell courses too. I do sell courses. But the problem with selling courses online is that, you know, there's people might confuse me with Tony Robbins and say, oh, he's like a Tony Robbins, right? No, I'm not like Tony Robbins at all. I don't walk on fire. I'm not teaching emotional state changes. I'm not doing that. There's nothing, I'm not saying anything negative about it. It's not what I do. I teach people how to grow a business.
Right.
I don't get involved in what your father did to you, your uncle. It doesn't matter to me what your daddy did to you. He abused you. Don't tell me, because I don't care. Like, that wouldn't be the worst thing that's happened on this planet, by the way. Somebody's, you know, there's, you know, somebody's getting abused in a 10X manner to anything that happened to you or me. Somebody's always got it worse. My goal is to change the future of my life, not the past of my life. And the same thing with our customers. So my job is to distinguish, to, like, I'm not that guy. That's not what I do. And so that's what, when you do my taxes, you know, if True Books ever did my taxes and you save me money, that shit is real.
Yeah.
Like, that dude saved me 20 grand, bro. Like, that's real. That's what I want. I don't want this gimmick. It's not my deal. I'm a real business guy. Like, all I care about is, can I buy that building? It's $260 million. Can I get the deal?
Speaking of real assets and real estate, there's a whole bunch of ways to invest now, and everybody's, trying to start an online business or courses or, crypto and Forex. You see all these things, man. Is it still your belief, even with the world changing and all this technology, that real estate is the best way to go?
Well, I think the best way to go is the business that you have. If you have it, there's nothing better than a great business, right? So, my primary businesses we've done $1 billion worth of sales on the internet. We'll do 150 million this year. That business is freaking awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Let's say I net a third of that after expenses, salaries, employees. That's a lot of money, man. $45 million in cash.
Yep.
What I do with the money, though, see, the real estate, to me, the best thing about real estate is I can take the big money or a little bit of money and I can push it into an asset that grows by itself. It does not need me to make it grow. And so all I got to do is tell people, hey, that's our building, take care of the tenants, buy a great location. There's no investment class that offers the leverage, the tax write-offs, the cash flow, and the appreciation in my mind that real estate does.
Yeah.
Somebody guy told me yesterday, he's like, your real estate compared to Amazon did 16,000%. I said, 16, bro, I got deals that I did 7 years ago. I did a deal. I bought it for $58 million. I put 15 million down. I refinanced it after 6 years, took out my 15 million plus 50 million. Okay. Both of those were non-taxable events. And I still own the 1,100 units and they pay me $4 million in cash a year. That's 16,000% times an infinite number.
Right.
And I will own it. My kids could own that asset class into perpetuity. Yep. So I love real estate because it's real, right? And also the last thing I'll say about this is compared to the stock market or the cryptos or the NFTs or, they can go up and down, man. And in the beginning, and they don't provide cash flow and you can't leverage them like you can real estate. So the three benefits, and you don't get the tax write-offs. If you go sell your Bitcoin right now, you bought in at $50 and you sell today, you will be paying taxes on $65,000 per Bitcoin. So same thing with your NFT. If you bought it for whatever, 1,000, you sell it for $1 million, you're paying taxes. You're going to pay the highest taxes, tax rate. I'm buying a $260 million building right now. I'm going to get $100 million of depreciation for the first 10 days of December that I own it. And so, that real estate class, just that class of asset, because I know, you're in the flipping and the wholesaling game. I'll bet you regret most of the stuff you've sold if you're buying good stuff in good locations.
Oh yeah. I mean, the stuff I sold 5 years ago, doubled, tripled, you know what I'm saying? And I'm with you. That was the reason, we started buying multifamily as well. We just closed on our first big apartment, 334 unit in Georgia. And, same deal. It's like, yeah, I have my businesses that make me money. We got True Books, we got courses, we got everything that you talked about. And it was like, man, how do I offset this income and put it somewhere? Well, you just buy big buildings and, you don't have to pay taxes if you buy enough of them.
And you wait.
Yeah.
And this apartment thing, and I've been saying this for 7 or 8 years now, people are starting to pay attention to me. The apartment game is the housing game of the 1950s on steroids. This is the new game, folks. Like, we are in the beginning stages. You are not late to this game. This game, if you live in a city, anywhere in America, and there you got any kind of positive migration, meaning more people coming in than leaving, you should be looking at the apartment stock rather than buying one house or even flipping a house. I know you can make a lot of money flipping a house.
Right.
You can also lose money flipping a house.
Mm-hmm.
And you could be terrified in the interim trying to figure out whether you're going to make money or lose money. Right.
Right.
And also with supplies. I mean, it's hard to flip homes right now because you can't get the stuff you need to the kitchens and the wood plank, and you can't get the stuff you need to flip that house and, to rehab it. But if you guys would buy apartments, particularly like anything above 32 units, if you can find a 32 unit deal where the rents are $400 lower than they should be, that's $2 million worth of profit right there. If you can just move the rents from 800 to 1200 on 32 units, you'll make $2 million every time you do it.
Yeah, 100%. So with the supply chain issues you're talking about here, how long do you foresee all of this stuff going on with, car prices being, used cars selling for more than new cars, people paying all this money for the watches, and, real estate just going crazy, like everything's going nuts with all the money printing and supply issues? Like, how long do you see this going on?
So two issues for me is the supply chain issue is a temporary issue, and it is inflative. It would create what appears to be inflation. Container prices are up like 5x. Even maybe the stuff you're getting didn't go up any, but the container price did. So the shipping causes your price to go up. So I think that is temporary. I think that goes away. I think you're going to see a spike, but the reality is we do not, in this country, this is a little complicated, but I'm sure your audience will get it. The money supply in this country is like a hockey stick. So the money supply looks like that. We have 40% more money in the last, this is a 2-year cycle, by the way. So like this is before COVID. Oh, this is Trump. Last year, Trump. This money supply, we've generated 40% of the money supply. The thing that people, that would appear to create more cash and then more inflation. But the truth is, there's another thing called money velocity, and money velocity went the other way. Without money velocity is how fast you and I move $100 or $1,000. Money's actually not moving. Money was printed and people are saving it, and they have an equity in their homes, and they're actually borrowing more money and not using their cash. So without money velocity, you can't actually have inflation. So I think we're seeing a temporary spike. Investors are buying homes. You guys are seeing all this in housing. This is not the end user paying too much for the house. This is an investor buying the house in Nevada. There's 13 people showed up to buy the house. They thought they were going to get 230. An investor comes in at the last minute and says, I'll pay cash $250,000. I'll give you a check right now. The reason he can pay $250 is he's paying cash, number one. Number two, he's going to rent it out for $1,500 a month. He's going to make 6% on his money, and he's freaking tickled to death. That stock is going to go away. You're not going to be able to buy that house. That house will not be sold for the next 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 years, maybe 30 years. So the housing stock is going to be consumed. Number one. Number two, people are going to move to apartments as a style of living because they want community. They don't want to live by themselves, and they don't want to take care of their house. And it gives them mobility to move around. So once the supply chain stuff moves off, cars will go back to being what they are. We still got a lot of money printed. And
the money's got to go somewhere.
Money's got to go someplace, and it will, unless it gets all like destroyed. I think the bigger concern is that we're just going to the destruction of cash and replace it with something new.
What do you think it might be?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know that. I just know that it's all made up anyway. This is all bullshit. There's a piece of garbage. There's a piece of garbage right here. Anybody thinks this is cash is king? You haven't done your homework. Cash is garbage. You cannot create wealth saving this.
Yeah. Once you understand what the Federal Reserve actually does, you're like, man, this is crazy. But yeah, I agree with you.
There's $10 trillion in equity in homes. There's another 10 trillion. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say one thing that has been my kind of hypothesis this whole time as a house flipper and, wholesalers, that you're seeing all these people with all this equity and they want to tap into it. But, if they sell, what are they going to buy? They can't qualify for anything. They can't afford, what their house is. Their payment would be higher. And the alternative is, why don't I just refi? I'll get the money anyway. There's no taxes. I don't have to move. And so, like you said, those people don't want to sell. The investors who buy all these houses don't want to sell. They're sitting on it. And so you're like, where's the supply ever going to come from? It's too expensive to build new.
That's right. You're 100% right. You did all the math. I mean, you ought to be on CNBC. They're not going to build. They're not going to build. I was with what was the first big builder in this country? The Horton and the Norton, the Hortons.
E.R. Horton. Yeah.
Anyway, why are they going to build? They're not going to build. They're going to build rather than putting $50 million into a neighborhood. They're going to be like, I'm going to build a 600 unit building. That is the new housing stock in America. It is not the single family home. Nobody is ever going to build a $200,000 home again.
No, it's impossible. And it's not profitable.
Exactly. They're like, why would I risk this for one house?
Right.
Dependent upon an individual that might work for American Airlines to pay for it. And they might not even be there tomorrow. Like, it's just not real. And people have to put 20% down to buy that house today. They got to have a good job. They got to have a secure job. They got to have a great credit score. So that game is over. So where does the game go? The game moves. I got to live somewhere. The game moves to big apartment complexes. And that's where the wealth will be created in the housing sector.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 100% with you. I think, you did a video recently. I reacted to it on my YouTube channel about, America becoming a renter society. And I agree. I mean, I think people are going to lease cars. I think, people are, companies like Uber are going to make it so that you don't even need to lease a car. They'll just pick you up, these robo taxis and, like, you're not going to need to own anything.
That's deflationary. Music is deflationary. Okay. Online movies, deflationary, not inflationary. Yeah. Because I'm not spending money to go anyplace now.
Everything's getting cheaper, but they're printing more money.
Metaverse will definitely be a deflationary moment.
Right.
I can stay home and I can go to Disneyland at my house on my headset rather than go to Disneyland and spend $400.
Yeah. I'm with you. Everything is getting way cheaper and your experience is getting better too.
That's right.
So it's a crazy
Hey man,
time.
You're going to be able to go to the World Series, sit right where I did in 2017. My wife and I, LA Dodgers, Astros, 7th game. I sat right behind the umpire. I paid $117,000 for those seats. In the future, every person will have that seat. In fact, you'll probably be on the field with the catcher, or maybe you'll be the umpire.
Yeah.
It's going to be freaking crazy, dude. You'll be second.
It'll be cheap. It'll be
nothing. It'll cost nothing.
Yeah.
And so those things are deflationary, right? And they're not inflationary. So I bet if me and you do an interview 1 year from now, I'll bet you interest rates are less than they are today. Even though the Fed is saying they're going to go up, me and you have a little, let's meet November 2nd next year and see where they're at.
All right. I'm going to put it in the calendar. Annie, you hear that? So Annie heard it. So I'm with you, dude. I've totally on board. Everything's going deflationary, and the only way the Fed can combat it and keep the status quo is to just print more money and lower rates. They don't have a choice.
Printing more money. So the Treasury, the 10-year Treasury today is 1.552. I'll bet you and your audience, I'll give everybody that comments $100 if the interest rate is higher on November 2nd, 2022.
All right. You guys heard it first. So let's talk about what you're going to be doing to help the people, man. So I've been following Cardone Capital for a while as a real estate guy and watching what you're doing. And you guys have accumulated billions of dollars in real estate. And I know at one point you had a non-accredited fund that you shut down. And now the reports are you are starting a new one and you're about to buy almost $1 billion worth of real estate with that fund. So tell me about that.
So we did have a non-accredited fund and we shut it down because of COVID. When COVID happened, we raised $80 million from non-accredited and we raised $620 million from accredited. No broker fees, no middleman, no banks involved. 100% of the money went to the fund, went to buy the investment. 100% of the investors' money went into the deal. When COVID happened, March of 2020, I was shooting Undercover Billionaire. We got shut down. Discovery Channel shut the show down. I flew back to Miami, walked in my office. I said, shut down the non-accredited fund, not the accredited fund. We continue to raise money from the accredited, but I didn't want Bobby that was giving me $5,000 or $10,000 to be at risk because I thought his job was at risk.
But, when we looked into the non-accredited fund, our attorney's like, man, there's just so much red tape, and man, like it'd be great if you could do it, but just know you're under so much scrutiny and so much regulation that it makes it so hard. Grant's giving me a couple fingers, if you guys know what he means.
This is why there's so much wealth disparity in this country today. The everyday family, the little guy, okay, particularly marginalized communities, the Black, brown communities, and the lower middle class, white in this country, never get a shot at what wealthy people invest their money in. This deal that I'm buying now, wealthy families don't even get. The wealthy institutions get them. So for your audience, y'all need to understand there's the middle class, there's the rich, there's the wealthy, and then there's the super wealthy. And then above the super wealthy, above Zuckerberg, Bezos, Warren Buffett, and Elon, there's companies that could literally consume those 5 names with a pencil and a pen. These are Blackstone, Vanguard, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, okay? 2 companies I just mentioned, Blackstone and Vanguard, are worth $20 trillion each by the end of this decade. That is 99% of all, that is control of 99% of all the assets on planet Earth.